CLOS is an acronym for Cross-Laminated Offsite Solutions. So we're an offsite focused business that models in 3D and fabricates components or elements that are then assembled either in-house in our factory or assembled on site. So we're a solutions focused business, predominantly using timber and any sustainable materials. So I'm John Fitzgibbon. I'm the founding director of CLOS. I grew up down in Warrnambool Way, so I'm from regional Victoria. Had a stint in Melbourne for about 15 or 20 years in the construction sector, and then moved to Geelong in about 2016 for another project down here. So CLOS started in, I think I set it up in 2017, and I set it up out of frustration, I guess, out of the experiences that I'd had over that 15 or 20 years in the sector, and some big, tall concrete buildings. And like, we did the same thing all the time, and whether it was a different building or not, it was still the same sort of systems: pour concrete, move up another level. And we were sort of, we'd always argue why things never changed. I saw timber, or the timber wave, coming through from Europe, I guess, in the early 210s and 212s, and really was intrigued about how timber could form the basis of big structures. At the end of 2017, I set up CLOS. 2018 was probably a big learning curve of understanding timber construction, and then from 2019 onwards we started fabricating our own buildings. We break down a building into components and then reassemble that, and we build in a way, it's almost like a car line, where we'll make the chassis, and we'll make the engine block, and then we'll make the bonnets, and we'll make those wheels, and we'll do all those bits and pieces, and then we'll put it together on a line that then makes that a lot more efficient. So when we move into Ford, we'll actually have a conveyor line that our houses can get built on, and then we can build a house in a month instead of 26, 30 weeks. So in 2023, CLOS will be relocating to the old Ford building on Geelong Melbourne Road. We're super excited with our relocation to there. We get to reconnect with the Norlane and Corio communities that were heavily reliant on manufacturing back through the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, when Ford was probably one of the major employers in the region. So we're manufacturing housing as opposed to building housing, and then we will re-engage with the community from the manufacturing sector, and those that have probably seen manufacturing run through the veins of that family, and enables them to then continue their manufacturing employment, just in a different way, I guess. The new automation line, the Weinman Home Ag line that we will have set up, allows us to do what equates to about 100 square metres of floor plate a day of a full house. You multiply that over the year, then that equates to about 500 homes through one shift. What we'd like to see is then multiple shifts that are running through the manufacturing line, which then can increase productivity and output out of that factory. So our clients range from a diverse background: apartments, SDA approved NDIS tenants, accommodation buildings, schools, sports halls, a wide range of different clients. One of the first things I did when I set up CLOS was connect with Give Where You Live, a foundation that's behind a lot of social procurement and social enterprise businesses in and around the Geelong region. And that was in order to make sure we looked after those that perhaps have been left behind in housing, employment, education. Northern Futures is a big part as well. We tend to employ a lot of kids that come through the training programs from Northern Futures. Gordon TAFE, another one. Grow, which is obviously a connection with Give Where You Live. We've just recently connected with some of the local Indigenous groups in order to help us find a way that we can employ more of the traditional owners from around the area.
I'm Matty Stokes. Yeah, obviously owner of Laminated Offsite, which has been operational for about 2.5 years, and it was set up with an initiative to create a workforce inside the program, which is a Melbourne-based company, national, and we were able to set up a business that was solely focused on Indigenous employment outcomes.
My name is Brooke and I'm the Employment and Community Lead for GROW at the Give Where You Live Foundation.
So my name's Glenn Robertson. I work for the Department of Education and Training in the Head Start program, which assists students into work experience and school-based apprenticeships and traineeships in the government schools. And one of those schools is Northern Bay College.
My name's Brian Moore. I'm from Northern Futures, which is an organisation set up in the north of Geelong. So what we basically do is address disadvantage and giving people an opportunity that they mightn't have previously.
I've been around the civil construction place industry for probably about 5 years, and a lot of people talk about social procurement and what they do, and they really don't really stand for anything. And I think I looked at CLOS's values as a business and John's personal relationships with people, and saw there was a clear a pathway to how Larrakia operates and how it wants to be known. So it was probably very organic for the relationship to blossom to, being a couple of weeks ago, we're up in Darwin together, working on a few projects. So I think it was something that, resonated with me pretty quickly. I actually listened to John and Renee speak at a Give Where You Live audience a few months back, and saw the opportunities and probably the similarities with working with the community on getting good outcomes, not only for the business but for people. And with a lot of relationships that I have in the Northern Territory, being born and raised there, I thought it was a good opportunity in the Commonwealth Games coming up to be able to work with CLOS on maybe making it even bigger, and having the extraordinary work that CLOS does with the relationships and personal contacts that I have to be able to actually think bigger and strive for something that's greater.
GROW is an initiative of the Give Where You Live Foundation, which is created to build a fairer community in our region. GROW works with industries, community groups and government bodies to help those with barriers to employment. So John is connected with Northern Futures, which is located out here in the north, and really worked with the students there on creating work experience opportunities, which is giving them exposure to the workforce and preparing them for when they enter full-time employment. And as part of that, he's actually signed up quite a few of their students into carpentry apprenticeships. So that is life-changing for those students.
So the benefits I've seen from the partnership between CLOS and Northern Bay is that students are aware of the business that you have out here. They're aware that there is a place for them to do carpentry, building and construction, and experience that. They're also aware that there are employment opportunities going forward, and I think it's really important that they understand that there is long-term employment here, and that they're part of your journey in the northern suburbs.
The opportunities that are up in Darwin, we've got the Commonwealth Games here that's going to be based in Geelong, or one of the bases, and with the relationships that we're forming and being able to partner up on something, it's going to be pretty exciting, and I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for our employment, opportunities for our youth, the people in the Northern Territory where I'm from, black and white, male and female, and I think that's one of the beauties of working with CLOS is it's about the opportunity and the options for kids and people out there in general to be able to give them a chance to be able to succeed. And I think, I'm pretty excited about what the future holds for both our companies.
John reached out and was still committed to working closely with Northern Futures and working with us to give people an opportunity to commence employment. And I think, I was just doing some research on this the other day, but I think we've had about 9 or 10 people through our programs come out to CLOS. And it's really exciting to hear that CLOS is going to be moving to the old Ford factory. And as you're aware, Ford was a major part of Geelong and always has been. and to hear that a company has come down here and expanding to use the Ford facility is amazing. And for our clients, it's going to be so beneficial because it's going to be close to their home, and for the ones who don't have transport, it's going to be accessible, and it's going to be a great area for them to access work and to have that experience. So we're really excited about CLOS moving to Ford.